Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner, operator of Exploit Diet Art by Science, and this is Fiber Talk episode number 5, and today we are going to be talking about Jacob wool. Now, I've been using Jacob wool for actually quite a long time. It was one of the first fibers I started using, and I decided to buy part of a fleece way long time ago when I was only washing partial fleeces at a time. And I have several projects that I have made in the past. Some of them actually are here with me, and I will show you. So this is sort of one of my felting projects. I was using merino to be the base for applying locks. And here at the bottom we have a lovely brown with a little bit of gray Jacob colored locks here at the end. And basically what I did is I sort of kept it in lock form, and I ringed the entire bottom on each piece with the Jacob locks. And then when I felted it, I made sure that I didn't felt the tips so much as I did the part next to the merino. And as a result, I have this really soft, kind of interesting fringe on this scarf. So Jacob felts really well, but it also has the propensity to sort of like keep its shape. You can see, makes a nice little fringe. I actually forget how I typically wear this. I have so many warm things to wear. I sometimes don't wear some as much as I used to. So yeah, it's a really great felting wool. I know some of you have sort of asked well, I kind of want to felt, but I don't know what to use. Jacob, I think, fills a really nice felting need because it's a wool that is very similar to the down breeds like Dorset and Baby Doll, but it still has a lot of variability in the actual individual fleeces. So sometimes you'll get fleeces which are more soft, and then sometimes you'll get fleeces that are maybe in the middle or more coarse. So really it's a case by case basis when you use the individual fleece. But you get some really nice colors. You also get some really nice textures. And from what I've experienced, it all felts really well. So this is one project that I did. And then it combines well with other fibers. So I used a little bit of cashmere, the vast majority of this cowl, which is pretty basic. I made it for Mr. IT Guy. He wears it occasionally, not as much as he used to because he has a really nice alpaca scarf. But, I made this out of mostly Jacob with a little bit of cashmere and just a teensy little bit of merino, brown merino. And you can see here, if I hold this up to the camera, it has a really nice stitch definition as well. Okay, so it felts well, it knits well, it also spins extremely well. Here I have a sample of gray Jacob. Don't know how gray this looks, but it looks more brown than gray. So you can kind of see, it looks a little bit more brown than gray, but maybe there's something about the category description that I just don't know about. Now, one of the things that makes Jacob so interesting is there's a huge variability in fleeces. It's more like the color than the fleece quality that makes Jacob sheep so interesting. And also they have a lot of horn variation. Some have 2, then there's 4, maybe even 6. Crazy. But they're called piebald, so they have lots of different colors, and they're kind of almost spotted, maybe two, maybe like 3 colors. I think some of them have like 4 or 5 colors. I think 3 is mostly typical though of Jacob. Um, and they have some really great combinations. So you might have like white, brown, and gray. You might have white, black, and brown. And it's in varying quantities as well. So maybe it's mostly white and black with a little bit of brown, or maybe it's white and gray with just a little bit of black. So you can actually get a lot of variability in your yarns when you spin the whole entire Jacob fleece. But like I said, there's variability. So if you want to use Jacob, you should probably go to someone who has Jacob fleeces so you can actually feel the texture. So this was actually spun from some commercial combed top that I bought online. And it was actually a real pain in the butt spinning this. So the Jacob that I've spun before, it came from shepherds who specifically bred for fleece qualities. So things like large percentages of hair or kemp have sort of been bred out of that particular flock of Jacob. So when I've used them in the past, I don't have to worry about that sort of thing. And this Jacob is probably on a similar fineness as like merino slash Falkland, maybe? It's like, I shouldn't say Falkland, it's like a merino, I'll have to get back to you on that. It's soft kind of like merino, but it definitely doesn't have the same texture or crimp structure as merino. So, the word, blue face luster is the word I'm looking for. It's like a combination of merino and blue face luster. So it's got like this crimpiness, but it's also soft, but not, quite the same kind of softness as merino. I'm sorry, I'm struggling so heavily here. But, that's one particular sheep, but in a combed top preparation that's commercially made, you're going to get a variety of fleeces in that commercial top. So when I spun this up, I encountered an incredible amount of kemp fibers. And I mean, I plan to use this for something soft because it's a relatively soft, sturdy fiber, but the kemp fibers, and I mean, I know there's still some in here as well, but the kemp fibers, what they are, it's basically a really, really thick fiber, and I can actually find one here because I have some of the combed top left over, and it's really obvious which one is the kemp. See that big white thing right there? This is a kemp fiber. It's extremely brittle, and if it gets bent in half, it's going to poke out, and it's really, really going to hurt. It's kind of like a super wiry gray hair. So when I was spinning this, I was pulling a lot of these fibers out before I let the twist enter the fiber, because I didn't want all of these kemp fibers sticking out of the yarn and like poking me. So I'm not quite sold that this is going to be a sturdy blanket like I had originally set out to do with this, but just know that there's a lot of variability with Jacob, and if possible, I would recommend getting a fleece in person rather than buying commercial top. You'll be a lot happier with it. And I also just wanted to show you some pictures of Jacob fleeces, or sorry, of Jacob the animals. So this is from the Fleece and Fiber Sourcebook, written by Deb Robeson and Carol Echarius, I don't know. I actually took a Craftsy class, a mini class that had Deb Robeson on there, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Anyway, so here we go. Let's try to get some of that glare off of there. So yeah, there he is. You can see some of the color variations in this one. And I think there's one more picture I'm going to show you real quick. This guy's face. So they're very interesting animals to look at. So before, when I said that Jacob has downlink qualities, when I first took this off of my my nitty naughty, it didn't actually, it was actually a lot longer than this. But what it did is it kind of did one of these like poof moments, right? It's actually a very springy fiber. Like, this is just me pulling it to its extent here, and you can see how much springiness there is. So, you know, you could use this, like if you have a soft Jacob, you could definitely use this sort of just like how you would maybe a springy fiber like Cormo, even. Just make sure that you find a fleece which is soft enough for close to the skin stuff, because these Kemp fibers and like really big guard hairs are really going to prevent this from being, you know, one of those fibers you can just buy and know that it's going to be, you know, very specifically this kind of quality, because there's a lot of variability. So, and lots of different colors. I'll show you another picture here. So yeah, there's lots of different colors here in this picture. And sometimes you can get all this variety from one fleece. You can get all that variety from one fleece. Sometimes you might have to get it from 2 different fleeces. But yeah, lots of different cool colors. You can combine them all together and make one sort of tweedy color, or you can keep them separate and, you know, use the natural colors or dye them, or over dye like the natural colors to produce sort of like an interesting textile that has lots of like saturation tones and gradients without having to do a lot of fancy dyeing stuff. So if you wanted to dye this one and this one, they're very different brown. This one's definitely more gray, this one's definitely more brown. But you know, if this came off the same animal and you over dyed this, it would be a very interesting effect. The dyed color would sort of unify these 2 colors together a little bit more, but you know, the natural color would sort of shine through and like change the tone of that color a little bit. So it's really cool. Anyway, so yeah, Jacob, it's a springy fiber. There's a lot of variability. There's lots of really great options for the natural colors. I definitely recommend picking it in person if you have the opportunity. Jacob tends to not be super expensive. So if you find someone who's selling fleeces and you're kind of getting into the whole washing and processing from the actual fleece, Jacob could be a really good starting fleece for you. But it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve just in case you get one that's all different kinds of textures, or if like some of the Kemp fibers get into things, you're going to have to be maybe a little bit patient pulling out all of those Kemp fibers like I did, which is partially why this video took so long, because I wanted to get this spun, washed, and ready for the video, and it took me like a week because I just kept getting frustrated with all of the Kemp fibers. But it's otherwise a very lovely wool to spin. Because of its springiness, it's going to fluff up quite a bit after the finishing process. Probably as much as 1 to 2 wraps per inch bloom. And, you know, if you're spinning for a project, make sure you keep that in mind. I would also characterize this particular fiber, because it's most recent in my memory, I would characterize it as a little bit sticky, but not bad sticky. It's kind of like how tufted silk is referred to as being toothy. It's a toothy fiber. I would say that this Jacob in particular is a bit of a toothy fiber. So if you were to do this with a really soft fiber like maybe merino or something that's slippery like alpaca or silk even, if you tried to do this, it would become a mess in no time. But I found this actually necessary so that I could pull out the chem fibers before I started spinning, so that I wasn't having to pick it out of the yarn that I just made. It's easier to pick it out of the unspun fiber. But yeah, I mean, it sticks to itself, which means I think it would probably also make a really great fiber if you prepare it for woolen spinning. If you're going to do a long draw or something with this, the way that it grabs its neighbor fibers means that it would draft extremely well if you put it over the fold, or if you made Rolex, or carded it into a bat and then drafted the bat off sideways like this. That would be good too. But all in all, Jacob is a understated and kind of not super well known fiber in our niche industry, so part of this video is to raise awareness for it. Goodness, I don't know where my tongue is saying all kinds of crazy things. So I don't think it's an endangered or a critical species yet, but it's got a really great fleece, and a lot of people don't know that it has a really great fleece, so I encourage you to sort of experiment and come with it with an open mind, because if you have used Jacob in the past and it has been a horrific experience, if this was my first experience with Jacob, I probably wouldn't be so excited to spin it again. But maybe with a little bit more research and a little bit more of an open mind, maybe a little bit more patience, you can give this wool a second chance. Anyway, so if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I would like to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it so much. It keeps me motivated to put these videos out on a regular basis, and I really do listen to the community. So if you would like to submit requests for future Fiber Talk videos, you can post that in the comments below and I will read it, add it to my queue. If I don't have the fiber, I will try very hard to get my hands on it. Otherwise, I'll get it when I'm home in the States, and then I'll make a video for you. Anyway, so I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!